All right, y'all. Today, I'm going to be talking about how you can make $100 per day trading. Now, let me just say right out of the gate that this is not going to be one of those fluffy videos that's just going to give you some overarching kind of thing. I'm going to walk you through step by step the things that you need to do. However, be aware, especially if you are new to trading, this is going to take some work. You're not going to be able to watch this video and then start making $100 a day tomorrow. All right. It depends on your situation. It depends on how much capital you have. It depends on your experience level. It depends on a lot of things. So let's go through this step by step. How to make $100 per day trading. Step one is you need to have a trading strategy. A lot of people, when they start trading, they don't really have any kind of strategy. They don't have a process that they go through every single time they enter a trade. Now, personally for me, I have many different strategies that I use. And, it's something that's very important because if you're going into a trade blind without having a plan, without having a reason, you're absolutely going to lose money. So if you want some ideas on strategies, you can check out some of my videos. I have a lot of videos that go over trading strategies. In fact, the trade that I'm currently in right now, this long position, this is a trade that if we go to my Discord here, when I posted the trade setup, I recommended for people to check out this trading strategy video that I have right here because I would only want to enter the trade if we had a specific setup, which I call a divergence sweep setup. And so my strategy to trade this was divergence sweep. And then later on, I had a phone image here, but, when I saw we were coming down to this area and we were getting the divergence sweep, I posted, hey, this is the potential long trade. And then we got a really nice bounce out of there. And that trade right now is currently up over 12%. And, with leverage, 180%. But my point is, if I didn't have this strategy, this predetermined strategy on what I was looking for before entering a trade, I either would have missed this completely, right? Because it looks like price is dumping. You have to have a lot of chutzpah in order to enter this kind of trade here, unless you have a very clear strategy, right? And so because I had that, I had the confidence to enter the trade. Now, the second thing you need to think about when it comes to having a strategy is how much time do you have to actually do this? How much time do you have to trade? If trading is not going to be your full-time thing, or if you cannot spend hours and hours a day on a chart, then you might not be able to, depending on your situation, actually make this work if you don't have the time to look at the charts, look at multiple assets every day, and plan out your trades, okay? We need to be realistic about this. If you only have 1 hour a day for looking at charts and trading, then I find, especially if you're new, it might be very, very difficult for you to reach this goal in the beginning unless you have a lot of capital. So I just want to be upfront about that. If you don't have the time to look at the charts, you might want to start a little bit slower and work your way up in a different way, okay? So step two, once you have this strategy, you need to make sure that it works. And how are we going to do that? We're going to back test it and we are going to forward test it, okay? Back test it and forward test it. So what do I mean by that? Well, for this specific trade right here, okay, now that it's already played out, we can back test it. And the divergence sweep that I was looking for is basically across multiple time frames. I want to see bullish divergences on market cipher B. And a bullish divergence is where price is making a lower low, while momentum is making a higher low, right? And we can see that on the 4 hour. We can see that right here on the 2 hour as we are coming down to our level. Okay, now it's unconfirmed, right? But that's okay because we're looking for unconfirmed on the higher time frames. As we're coming down, look at this. Even money flows coming up. Then we come down to the 24-minute. And we can see it also on the 24-minute. We come down to the 12-minute. We can see it also on the 12-minute as we are coming right into our level. We're getting the bullish divergences across here. Look at that, right? And not only do we get the bullish divergences with the momentum, but money flows coming up. The 6-minute, Same deal with the 6-minute. We can see it over the course of time. Money flow and momentum is coming up as we hit our level. And so that's called the divergence suite strategy. You can check that out on my YouTube channel. I have a video called 2 Powerful Trading Strategies, Beginner Market Cipher Tutorials. Right? So why am I going through all this? Is because, now what I can do, now that I know what I'm looking for, and let's say I wanted to use this strategy, I can continue to go back in time and back test and see, okay, when we come to a level of support, like right now, I only entered the trade here because we came to this level of support with the divergence suite. Now I can go back in time and look at every other place that Bitcoin came to a level of support and got a bounce out of there, right? With the divergence suite. So just a quick, let's see, was this, I just want to check out something. Let's pull this up to right here. So you can also see right here, we did get a bounce off this 786 fib level. It wasn't too perfect, but a lot of times we will lose the level and then come back up. And look what happened here, right? We came down to our level while we were getting the bullish divergences on the 4-hour. We're getting the bullish divergences also, if we come back in time here. Also on the 1-hour, we were also getting the bullish divergences and so forth. So you can go back in time and say, okay, I can see just by going back in time that every time Bitcoin comes to a support and we have a divergence on the 1-hour and down, it's usually going to be a very good move. So what you've just done is, because trading is essentially you're flipping a coin, right? Price is either going to go up or down. But what we want to do is we want to load the dice in our favor, right? We want to make sure that we know just from looking at historical data that if I do roll the dice in this specific instance, they'll be loaded in my favor. It's highly probable that things will work out in my direction. And here's something I should point out to y'all. When I say make $100 a day, I don't literally mean you will make $100 a day. In fact, on some days you might lose money. But the point is, overall, things will average out over the course of a week, over the course even of a month, 2 months, it will average out to $100 a day. It's very important that you understand that even if you lose money every day of the week, for a whole week, for 5 days in a row, that doesn't mean your strategy is a bad strategy, right? Because this is a probabilities game. What we want to look at is over the course of a month, over the course of 2 months, have you grown your account to what would average out to be $100 a day over the course of that time, okay? So step number 3 is choose your assets, okay? What assets do you want to trade? Because it's very important, especially if you're just starting out and you don't have too much capital, that you're trading multiple assets at the same time. And what you want to do is you want to be in swing trades and day trades and scalp trades all at the same time. You want to be trading multiple assets at once. You want to be in multiple positions at the same time. For example, this trade that I'm currently in, I entered this on September 21st. It's currently September 23rd, so I've been in it for 2 days. And this trade has come up, 12%. And so while I'm trading this position, I'm also in an Ethereum trade as well, and I'm also in other trades. And so what you want to do is you want to choose your assets that you want to trade. A lot of people only want to trade Bitcoin, they only want to trade Ethereum, and I myself oftentimes fall into that, and I'm in a position where I actually can do that just because I have a lot of capital to trade with. But the truth is, some of these altcoins have a lot more volatility than Bitcoin or Ethereum. In fact, we can look here at ADA and pretty much following Bitcoin very well, right? But look at how for ADA, where Bitcoin only moved up 12%, ADA moved up almost 20%. A lot of these altcoins have more volatility, and so there's more potential here to make gains. And so if you are trading Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano at the same time, well, now you can enter 3 comparable trades, right? I mean, look at this. Look at how the prices mirror each other, right? If you can hop in a Bitcoin long, it's very likely also that you could hop into an Ethereum long. In fact, that is exactly what I did, believe it or not. When I entered that Bitcoin trade, I also entered an Ethereum trade, just simply based on the fact that I saw Ethereum coming down to a support zone and coming back up while Bitcoin was also getting the bounce and Ethereum was also getting the bullish divergences. And I did not enter a Cardano trade, but you can see here I could have also, just based on these bullish divergences. And so that's why I talk about having the time to look at the charts, because a lot of times the cryptocurrencies will follow each other. And so if you can enter a Bitcoin trade, it's very likely you'll be able to enter other coins as well. And so now, instead of just getting one trade here on Bitcoin where I made 12% in 2 days, well, now I made 12% in 2 days on Bitcoin. I made 18% in 2 days on Ethereum. And I made 20% in 2 days on Cardano. Now, of course, we're not earning 20% on our whole account. We're earning a percentage on part of our account, and I'm going to get into more of that later. But my point is, if you can trade multiple assets here, and if you can enter multiple positions at the same time, then, it's very likely that you will be able to reach your goal much quicker. But you have to make sure, you really have to make sure that you are doing your analysis properly, and you have a strategy going into each one of these trades, okay? Now we're going to get into how much capital do you actually need. Okay, this depends on a few things. First of all, how aggressive do you want to be? How risky do you want to be? Okay, standard good risk management is you are only risking 1% of your total trading account per trade. That does not mean you're only placing 1% on the trade. It means you're risking 1%. Okay, I'm going to get more into this later. So if you're risking 1% per trade, there's a few different options there. Maybe you want to risk 2% per trade. That's a little bit riskier, okay? Or maybe 3%. That's pretty risky. That's about as risky as I get, is risking 3%. So you need to know, how aggressive do you want to be? Do you want to risk 1%? Do you want to risk 0.5%? Do you want to risk 3%? And you need to do this understanding that the more risk you take, the more potential there is for you to lose money. And losing money trading is an uphill battle, right? And the reason for that is because, let me pull out my calculator here, but if you have $1,000, right? If you have $1,000 and you lose 25%, now you only have $750, right? You only have $750 if you lose 25%. Now, if you make back your 25%, okay, you haven't even broken even. You're still $70 in the red. And that's why it's an uphill battle if you start losing trade after trade. If you can keep your risk lower, that means the losses that inevitably you will take, right? You're going to take losses. Every single trader takes losses. The goal is to keep the losses at a minimum or even break even. But my point is, the more you risk, if you start losing, it's going to be harder and harder to make that money back. So I recommend risking 1%. That's me. But you also need to ask yourself, how experienced are you, right? Are you experienced in your technical analysis? Have you been doing this for a while? If the answer is no, then I would actually recommend you learn how to trade before you start trying to make money. Okay, if you don't know how to trade and you're trying to make money, that is foolishness. Okay, these markets will absolutely humble you. They will humble you. I promise. They will humble you. And the reason is because I have met people, and I myself, who have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars starting out doing this, right? Especially in the crypto world, because a lot of us got into crypto by just hodling Bitcoin from when it was a couple $100. And then we found ourselves with all this capital, and we saw trading, and we're like, man, this is so awesome. Imagine how much money I can make. Before you know it, we're losing tens of thousands of dollars, right? Because we didn't take the time to learn. And so I recommend, if you're totally new to this, that you actually do take the time to learn. I do have a course here, jasoncaspertrading.com. This course will give you the knowledge and the skills you need to become a confident, profitable trader, because assuming you don't know anything about trading, you can check out the testimonials, but we go through all the TA that you need to know, technical analysis, so that you can plan out your trades. I show you how to use my primary trading indicator, Market Cipher. There's a 25% discount on Market Cipher in the description of this video. I give you 6 of my own trading strategies and teach you how to create and test your own. And then mindset and risk management, very important. Basically, this is the foundation that will get you off on the right foot when it comes to trading. There's currently a 30% discount in the description of this video. And also, if you do want to get into the VIP Discord, where I do post my trade setups and my daily technical analysis updates, where I, go over levels of support and resistance that I'm looking for, where I'm looking to trade, my thoughts on the market, all these types of things, You can do that by going to patreon.com/Jason Casper. Okay, so make sure you know how to trade. Make sure you understand what you're getting yourself into. And when it comes to capital, I recommend that, honestly, and might be a little shocking to people, but I recommend having at least $10,000 of capital to trade with if you want to make $100 a day. To do it in a low risk, fun, and easy way. Okay, I recommend having at least $10,000 of capital. Maybe $5,000, but I would recommend $10,000. Also, I recommend that you have a margin trading account. Okay, we want to be trading on margin. We want to be trading with leverage so that we can leverage a small amount of capital in order to make a gain on a larger amount of capital. For example, if we have $10,000, okay, and we are using 10x leverage, okay, that means we have a total of, at our disposal, well, here, 1% of 10,000 is, let's get out our calculator because I want to show you how this works. If we have 10,000 and we have 1% of that, that's $100, okay? That means because we have a $10,000 account, we only want to risk, if we're risking 1%, $100 per trade. We only want to risk that, meaning the most we want to lose per trade is $100. If we're using 10x leverage, that means we can put $1,000 on a trade, but our margin will only be $100, okay? So $100 of margin, but we can put $1,000 on the trade. Okay? Now, you can mess with this, right? If you're risking a little bit more, then you could put $2,000 on the trade if you're risking 2%. If you have your leverage a little bit higher, you could put more on the trade, right? These are variables, and you'll learn how to do this. I go over all this stuff, margin, leverage, all that in the course, and I'm sure you can find out for free also on the internet. But here's the thing. Now you have $1,000 on the trade. So let's just go back to the current trade that we're in, okay? If you only put $100 on your trade and you made 12%, well, now you only made $12, right? But because you have $1,000 on the trade, now you made $120 in one trade, okay? Now we could have traded 3 assets. Now we just made $360 in 2 days, okay? Divide that by 2. We made $180 in 2 days, right? So, of course, those trades are not going to come up every day, which is why it's important to have multiple assets that we're trading. But this is how we're going to do it, and this is why I recommend having $10,000 of capital. Because if you are using less capital, you're either going to have to up your leverage to a dangerous level, which I only recommend for very experienced traders, or you are going to have to risk more than you should. Okay, so we want to find that happy medium where we don't have to risk too much or put our leverage too high, but we can make enough money to hit our $100 a day. And right here we made $180 in 2 days. Of course, this is not always going to happen, right? Maybe the next day we actually lose $100, right? So now we're down to $80 overall in 3 days, okay? But then the next day, maybe we get, we win another trade, and we win another 3 trades or something, and over the course of a week, a month, a few months, it will average out to $100. This is something that's very important, but when it comes to trading, the long game is what counts, right? The day-to-day is completely irrelevant. If you lose a trade two days in a row, you're in the red. That's completely irrelevant. There will be times where your account goes down. There will be times where your account goes up. The goal is to keep the losses very low, and the way we do that is through risk management, right? If we're only losing 1%, right? If we're only losing 1% per trade, because we're using good risk management, then the wins will outweigh our losses, especially if we follow these other steps, okay? So questions, what if I don't have that kind of capital? What if I don't have $10,000? Well, if you don't have $10,000 to trade with, then I recommend you learn the skill of trading, because learning the skill of trading is very important, right? This is something that is the most freeing feeling in the world. It will allow you to really have a skill that will allow you to generate wealth regardless of who you are, regardless of where you are, as long as you have an internet connection and TradingView and Bybit, right? Or even a cell phone, okay? This is something you can pass on to your kids. We're looking at analyzing a chart here. That's all it is. You can apply this to stocks. You can apply this to crypto. You can apply this to Forex. You can apply this to a lot of different things. And even if you only have $100, even if you only have $500, $1,000, what you can then do is you can, instead of looking at that capital to try and make money per day, you can just focus on growing your account, right? If I have $1,000 and, 1% of that is $10. And, I'm using my 10x leverage, so I'm able to put $100 on the trade. And, in this case, now let's say that I made, how much would I have made, 12%. I would have made $12 on one trade. I would have made $20 on another trade, $20 on another trade. So we're looking at like $50, guys. I just made $50 in 2 days. So now I have $1,050, and you're just going to keep doing this. And as your account grows, the 1% that you're able to risk will grow as well, because the next time, now if I have $1,050, it doesn't seem like much now, but it will compound over time. But now I can risk $10.50, right? And then the next time, maybe I'm able to risk $11, and then $15, and then $20, and my account will grow until you get to the point where you do have $10,000, right? If you don't have that capital in the beginning, make sure that you have the long game in mind here and not the short game. People who approach trading as a get-rich-quick scheme are guaranteed to lose money, and also people who are desperate to make money are guaranteed to lose money. Desperation is the killer of all gains because it will make you greedy. And if you're greedy, then you will be tempted to do irresponsible things, like enter positions that you shouldn't be in, over leverage, risk too much, and I guarantee, even if in the beginning that's working for you, over time, that will not work for you and you will lose money. I guarantee it. It happens to everybody who starts trading. They get lucky in the beginning. They like double or triple their account in a month, and they feel like they can do it, and then they lose everything. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. Okay? What if I'm a complete beginner? That's another question. If you're a complete beginner, I recommend you learn how to trade. I recommend you take the time to actually learn this. Spend time to learn technical analysis. Okay? You don't have to take my course. I recommend taking a course, reading some books. Okay? This is a skill. This is a strategic thing where we're looking at charts to figure out where price is going to make a move, right? How did I know that this level down here was actually a potential area where we were going to get a bounce from? Well, it's simply just by doing technical analysis. For example, let me turn off some of these things here. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, no, I didn't have a naked daily point of control there, but what I did have there was I had a value area high, right? We had a value area high right there. And so, what is a value area high? Well, exactly. That's why you have to learn this stuff. Otherwise, how are you going to do this if you don't know what you're doing? So that's it, guys. And it's very possible. And of course, we can then up this to $100 a day to $1,000 a day if you have $100,000. And if you're making $1,000 a day, for your average person, that's $30,000 a month, which is, if we're gonna look at a yearly salary, that's a 6-digit yearly income, which, most people don't make this, right? Most people don't make even close to this. And so if you're just averaging out, compounding your capital and growing your account to the point where you do have $100,000 to trade with, and you're using good risk management, and your TA, you could very easily be making $30K a month, $20K a month, $10K a month. Okay? So I want to encourage you, if you're new and you feel like this is too hard to do, you can absolutely do it. You just need to take the proper steps. If you are looking and watching this video for the first time, looking perhaps to get into trading, congratulations on being interested in that. It's a great journey. The only advice I can give you is make sure to stay level-headed, stay humble, because the markets will humble you. Always be learning, and just stick to the basic stuff, right? Have a strategy that you know works. Stick to good risk management, and you'll be good. All right, guys, make sure to like the video, make sure to share the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon for a notification every time I release a new video. All right, y'all, peace.